Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every life when silence is no longer an option, when excuses crumble, and we face the truth in the mirror. That truth is simple but not easy. If you want your freedom, you have to work for it. If you want to rise, you must grind. Freedom isn't given, it's earned, not once, not twice, but daily through relentless effort, discipline, and sacrifice. There comes a point in life when the weight of regret becomes heavier than the weight of effort. That's the moment many realize that if they want to change their life, they must be willing to work harder, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The first step to taking your freedom back is accepting that no one is coming to do it for you. This world doesn't reward those who wait, it rewards those who move. Waiting for perfect timing, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to understand you, all of that keeps you stuck. If you're not willing to fight for your own life, your own freedom, your own potential, then someone else will always be in control of your future. They will define your limits, set your boundaries, and own your outcomes. But when you make the decision to rise, to outwork every excuse, to confront your weaknesses and push through resistance, you begin the journey back to your power. The truth is, most people don't lack motivation. They lack commitment. And commitment isn't something you feel. It's something you do. It's waking up early even when you're exhausted. It's showing up even when no one applauds. It's pushing past your own laziness and comfort and choosing progress over ease. Because every single time you choose comfort, you are choosing to give a piece of your freedom away. That comfort keeps you weak. It keeps you obedient to mediocrity. But when you work harder, when you push beyond what you thought was your limit, you discover a new version of yourself, a stronger version, a freer version, a version that doesn't fold under pressure but flourishes through it. This world is loud with lies, telling you to take it easy, telling you to slow down, telling you that you're enough as you are. But here's the truth. You are enough to start, but you're not enough to stay the same. Growth demands that you outgrow, that you break out of your old patterns, habits, mindsets, and limitations. And that requires effort, consistent, focused, sacrificial effort. Work harder doesn't mean lose your mind and run yourself into the ground. It means stop expecting life to hand you anything. It means stop blaming your past, your parents, your circumstances, your boss, your pain. It means taking extreme ownership over everything in your life, even the things you didn't cause, because only then do you have the power to change them. When you work harder, something incredible begins to happen. You start respecting yourself again. You begin to walk with your head higher, not because someone praised you, but because you know you earned it. You faced resistance and kept going. You heard the voice in your head saying, quit, and you ignored it. You silenced the doubt, not with affirmations, but with action. That's real confidence. That's real strength. That's real freedom. So many people talk about freedom as if it's a destination, but it's not. It's a discipline, a lifestyle. A daily decision to show up, shut out the noise, and give everything you've got to what truly matters. No shortcuts, no hacks, just the raw, rugged path of perseverance. If you want the life that few have, you must be willing to do what few will. You must be willing to sweat for it, cry for it, sacrifice for it, and still stand tall when everything in you wants to sit down. Work harder, because your freedom depends on it. Working harder isn't just about spending more time doing something. It's about bringing more of yourself to what you do. It's about being intentional with your time, focused with your energy, and determined with your spirit. You can put in hours and still stay in the same place if your heart isn't in it. But when you combine effort with passion and purpose, something powerful happens. You become unstoppable. Most people think they're being productive just because they're busy, but activity does not equal achievement. The real question is, are you moving forward? Or are you just moving? To take your freedom back, you must stop living distracted and start living driven. That means cutting out the noise, the laziness, the self-pity, and the excuses that keep you circling the same struggles year after year. When you work harder with intention, you begin to separate yourself. You rise, not because you're better than others, but because you refuse to let mediocrity define you. You stop competing with people and start competing with your own potential. You understand that no one is responsible for your success. But you, not your parents, not your spouse, not your past, not your pain. You are the one who must decide, am I going to keep settling, or am I going to stretch beyond what's comfortable to reach what's possible? And that choice doesn't come once, it comes every morning. It comes when your alarm rings, when fear hits, when distractions call, when quitting seems easier than continuing. Every moment is a test, and every test passed builds the muscle of resilience. Effort matters, but directed effort matters more. That's why working harder means working smarter. It's not about being frantic, it's about being focused. It's about knowing your goals, understanding your mission, and aligning your actions with that mission every single day. You can't expect clarity if your habits are clouded. You can't expect results if your mind is constantly scattered. You have to simplify and execute, identify what matters most, and give it everything you've got. Cut off the distractions, turn off the noise, eliminate the wasted time. That's what it takes to win your freedom back. You can't be casual and expect to be free. You can't be half-hearted and expect to rise. And the truth is, it will get lonely. When you decide to work harder, really harder, you will be misunderstood. People will call you obsessive. They will mock your discipline. They'll say you've changed, and they're right. You have. Because you can't keep your freedom and your comfort zone at the same time. One has to go. And the moment you let go of the need to be liked, to be accepted, to be entertained constantly, you step into your power. You begin to experience a new kind of satisfaction, not the fleeting kind that comes from escaping your responsibilities, but the deep fulfillment that comes from owning them. When you commit to working harder with clear purpose, life opens up. Doors begin to shift. People begin to notice. But more importantly, you begin to change. You become someone you can count on. Someone you respect. Someone who doesn't flinch when adversity hits but leans into it and keeps pushing. And that kind of mindset, that kind of discipline, that kind of inner fire, that is freedom. Freedom from dependence. Freedom from weakness. Freedom from everything trying to control you. So if you want that kind of life, stop asking for easier. Start preparing for better. Show up differently. Work harder, not just for success, but for your soul. Because real freedom isn't found, it's forged. Comfort is a silent thief. It sneaks in disguised as peace, as rest, as reward. But over time, it slowly robs you of your hunger, your discipline, and your potential. When you get too comfortable, you stop reaching. You stop risking. You settle. And in that settling, you lose your edge. That's the danger. Comfort tells you that you've done enough, that you deserve to relax, that you're fine where you are. But if you stay there too long, that place of comfort becomes a cage, a soft prison. And though it feels safe, it starts to suffocate you. Your mind becomes dull, your vision becomes blurred, and your purpose begins to fade. People talk about freedom as though it comes from avoiding pain or difficulty. But in truth, real freedom is born through struggle, earned in the fire of discomfort. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you're giving away a piece of your power. Every time you say, I'll do it later, or I'm tired, or I don't feel like it, you give your future away to a momentary feeling. You trade long-term freedom for short-term ease. But the life you want, the strong, disciplined, self-respecting life, is built on the other side of those excuses. It doesn't show up when you're cozy. It reveals itself when you're tested. That's when you find out who you really are. And the problem is, society keeps feeding this lie that comfort equals happiness, that ease is the goal. But ease never made anyone extraordinary. No one ever changed the world or even changed their life by playing it safe. It's in the struggle, in the discipline, in the hard choices that transformation happens. To take your freedom back, you must wage war against comfort. That doesn't mean you can't ever rest. Rest is earned, but most people haven't worked hard enough to be tired. They confuse laziness with self-care. True rest comes after you've pushed yourself beyond what's easy, when you've shown up despite the resistance, when you've stayed committed when quitting was more convenient. That's when rest refreshes, because it's built on purpose, not passivity. When you work hard and earn your moments of stillness, you value them. But if your life is built around avoiding discomfort, you will never grow. And what doesn't grow dies slowly. So many people are trapped in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, and habits that control them, all because they fear discomfort. They don't want to feel the pain of change, so they stay stuck. But here's the hard truth. Growth is painful. Change is uncomfortable. That's the price of becoming free. You have to face your fears. You have to do things that scare you. You have to be willing to look foolish, to fail, to fall down and get back up. That's how strength is built. That's how freedom is won. Not in a moment, but in a series of small, consistent decisions to choose growth over ease. Comfort might feel good, but it will never make you great. And greatness is not about applause or fame. It's about ownership. It's about looking at your life and knowing that you showed up fully, that you didn't cheat yourself, that you didn't hide from the hard things, that you leaned in when others leaned back. When you live that way with that level of intensity and honesty, you don't need permission from anyone to feel proud of who you are. You'll walk taller, speak stronger, and lead better because you earned it. You didn't inherit freedom, you built it, and that's the kind of freedom no one can take away. Taking your freedom back begins with a decision, a deeply personal, sometimes painful choice to stop blaming and start owning. Life will throw you into chaos, disappointment, unfairness, even heartbreak. And many times it won't be your fault. You didn't choose the broken home, the betrayal, the missed opportunity, the sickness, the poverty. But while you may not be to blame for how the storm started, you are responsible for how you navigate through it. Ownership is not about taking blame, it's about taking control. It's the refusal to live life like a victim, even when life hands you reasons to feel like one, because the moment you choose ownership, you reclaim your power. And power, once reclaimed, is the first taste of true freedom. People often wait for something or someone to come fix their situation, hoping for a break, waiting for rescue, expecting someone to apologize, to change, to open a door for them. But waiting is passive. Waiting is dangerous. While you're waiting, life keeps moving, and if you're not moving with it, you're falling behind. You don't need more time, you need more truth. You need to look at your life and ask, what part of this have I allowed? Where have I lowered my standards? What excuses have I made for staying small? These are not easy questions. They're uncomfortable, but they are essential if you want to stop surviving and start living with strength and purpose. When you take ownership, everything changes. You stop saying, I can't because, and start saying, I will figure it out. You stop blaming circumstances and start building solutions. You stop complaining and start creating, and the truth is, you're far more capable than you've been led to believe. The problem is, you've been distracted. Distracted by doubt. Distracted by fear. Distracted by the need for approval. You've been fed the lie that you need someone to validate your dream before you begin. But ownership means giving yourself permission. It means stepping into the role of the leader in your own life, even if no one claps for you, even if no one helps you, even if no one believes in you yet. It's not their job to believe in you, it's yours. Taking ownership also means facing your habits, those daily decisions that either push you forward or pull you back. It means recognizing that discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you choose over and over again until it becomes part of who you are. You can't be free and still be a slave to your emotions. You can't be free and still live in reaction to everyone else's actions. Ownership means taking control of your attitude, your focus, your energy, your response. Life is going to test you. People are going to disappoint you. Things will not always go your way. But none of that has the power to break you if you've already made the decision that you are in control of how you show up. This mindset doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. And when you're stronger, you don't need easy. You rise. You adapt. You overcome. Because now you're no longer waiting for freedom to be handed to you. You're out in the world, earning it, shaping it, claiming it. And once you start living like that with full ownership, every area of your life starts to transform. You gain clarity. You gain courage. You gain confidence. Not because the road is smooth, but because you've learned to walk it with your head high and your heart on fire. This is what it means to work harder and take your freedom back, to own every moment, every mistake, every miracle, and turn it all into momentum. Failure is not the end. It's the beginning of transformation, but only if you allow it to be. Most people fear failure because they think it defines them. They think one setback means they're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy of success. But failure doesn't define you. It refines you. It reveals what's real inside you. It exposes your weaknesses. Yes, but it also awakens your strength. Every great achievement is built on a foundation of failure. The ones who succeed are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who fall, get back up, and keep going, no matter what. If you're not failing, you're not pushing hard enough. If you're not facing resistance, you're probably not on the right path. Because the right path, the one that leads to freedom, growth, and greatness, will challenge everything small inside you. Failure is not the enemy. Quitting is. Giving up is. Blaming others is. But failure, it's the best teacher you'll ever have. It humbles you. It forces you to look at what's not working. It makes you ask questions you wouldn't have asked if things had gone smoothly. And in those questions, you find growth. You find clarity. You find your next step. Too many people try to avoid failure at all costs, and in doing so, they avoid life itself. They live small, safe, careful lives where nothing ever changes. But freedom doesn't live in safety. It lives in risk, in courage, in daring to try, even when there's no guarantee it'll work out. When you work harder and you fail, don't stop. Don't retreat. Analyze, learn, rebuild, go again. Every failure gives you data. It gives you insight. It gives you an edge. If you're willing to look at it honestly, without ego, failure will give you everything you need to grow. But you have to be brutally honest with yourself. No sugarcoating, no pretending. Just look at what happened, own your part in it, and then ask, what do I need to do better next time? That kind of self-reflection, that kind of resilience is how champions are made. It's also important to understand that failure isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent. It shows up in subtle compromises, in slowly drifting off course, in the decision not to give your best because you're afraid it won't be enough. These quiet failures can be more dangerous than the big, obvious ones because they're easier to justify. But over time, they add up. They steal your momentum. They dilute your confidence, and they make you forget how powerful you really are. That's why failure, even the quiet kind, must be faced with courage. You must be willing to confront the areas where you've slipped, where you've stopped showing up fully, where you've been coasting instead of striving. The beautiful thing is this: failure doesn't have the final say unless you let it. Every time you rise after a fall, you gain strength. You build character. You become someone who cannot be broken easily. And that, more than any external success, is what sets you free. Because when you know how to get up after being knocked down, nothing can stop you. You don't fear failure anymore. You respect it. You learn from it. You let it sharpen you. Freedom is not the absence of failure. It's the ability to keep moving through it. It's the mindset that says, this didn't break me, it built me. And once you've lived that truth, you start to welcome the struggle. You stop running from hard things. You stop needing everything to be perfect. You just show up, give everything you've got, and trust that no matter what happens, you'll find a way forward. That's how you work harder. That's how you take your freedom back, by failing forward, by failing stronger, by never letting the fall be the final chapter. The decision to rise is not a one-time moment of motivation. It is a daily battle. Every morning before the world sees you, before you speak a single word, you are faced with a quiet but powerful decision to show up or to shrink back, to give your best or to coast through the day, to face what's in front of you with strength, or to fold under the pressure. And the truth is, no one will make that choice for you. No one will drag you out of bed. No one will push you through your laziness or carry you through your fear. This is your fight. This is your mountain. And if you want your freedom, you must rise. Consistently, deliberately, and unapologetically. Most people wait to feel motivated. They wait until they're in the mood. They think strength comes from inspiration. But real strength, the kind that builds a life of freedom, is born from discipline. Discipline doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't negotiate with your excuses. Discipline is when you do what needs to be done, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one is watching, because you understand that greatness doesn't happen in front of crowds. It happens in silence, in sweat, in the daily grind that no one applauds. That's what rising looks like. It's not flashy. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just choosing to not quit today. Sometimes it's choosing to speak kindly to yourself after failure. Sometimes it's choosing to work for your vision even when you're surrounded by doubt. Rising means deciding that average is not your destiny. It means refusing to let pain become your identity. You might have been broken, but you're not finished. You might have been delayed, but you're not denied. You might have made mistakes, but you're not disqualified. When you rise, you stop letting your past determine your future. You stop waiting for someone to give you permission to live fully. You become your own source of strength, not because life is easy, but because you've trained yourself to keep going. And the more you rise, the more unstoppable you become. The people who truly change their lives, who take their freedom back, are the ones who decide to rise even when everything inside them says stay down. They rise in the face of failure. They rise through heartbreak, through exhaustion, through fear, through shame. They rise because their purpose is louder than their pain. They rise because they've tasted what it feels like to settle, and they refuse to go back. And the more they rise, the more they inspire others to do the same. Because rising is contagious. When one person stands tall in the middle of adversity, they give silent permission to others to believe in their own strength. But none of this happens by accident. It happens through decision, through effort, through the refusal to be passive. Life will always give you reasons to stay small. There will always be a voice telling you to play it safe, to give in, to take the easy route. That voice is loud, but it's not in control unless you let it be. You have another voice, quieter but stronger. The voice that says, keep going. The voice that says, you were made for more. The voice that says, get up. That voice is your future. That voice is your freedom. And every time you choose to rise, you give that voice more power. So rise, even when it's hard. Rise, even when you're tired. Rise, even when you don't feel ready, because the world needs what's inside of you. And more than that, you need it. Your life, your legacy, your purpose depends on it. Don't wait. Don't wish. Don't wonder. Rise, because when you do, you begin to reclaim every part of your freedom that fear and failure tried to steal. Freedom is not a gift. It's a grind. It's not something handed down. It's something fought for, earned through relentless discipline, unshakable ownership, and the courage to rise again and again, no matter how many times life knocks you down. You take your freedom back the moment you stop running from pain and start running toward purpose. You take it back when you silence excuses with execution, when you refuse to be defined by failure, and when you outgrow every version of yourself that was too afraid to step forward. This journey demands more than just effort. It demands heart. You will face moments when you want to quit, when the weight feels too heavy, when your progress feels invisible. But that is exactly when you must push harder. That is when the breakthrough begins. Because the greatest victories are born in silence, when no one's watching, when no one believes in you yet, when it's just you and your decision to keep going. So don't settle. Don't slow down. Don't shrink to fit a life that's beneath your calling. Stand tall, work harder, live louder, take responsibility for every step, every choice, every battle, and fight for the freedom that is already inside of you. It's time to take it back. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. This is your moment, your mission, your mountain. Rise and make it yours.